Unda Meminit. My name is Artem Kovacs, and if you're reading this, maybe you're like Misserman who chases thrills in the dark corners of the world, thinking nothing can touch you. I'm 22, living in a rundown apartment in Constanta, Romania, overlooking the Black Sea. The waves crash against the shore day and night, a constant reminder of how close the ocean is. By day, I work at a small electronics repair shop, fixing smartphones and laptops for tourists and locals alike. It's mindless work, soldering circuits and wiping data, but it funds my real life. Urban exploration with my crew, the Cold Night Divers. We're a ragtag group of adrenaline junkies. It all started back in university, when Luca, our 28-year-old history enthusiast and de facto leader, convinced us to break into an abandoned factory on the city's edge. We filmed the whole thing on cheap cameras, uploaded it online, and watched as views trickled in. Now, 3 years later, we have a solid following, around 18,000 subscribers across platforms. We specialize in nighttime dives into forbidden zones, derelict asylums, forgotten Cold War bunkers, flooded quarries. Sophia, 24, is our daredevil, always the first to climb a rickety ladder or squeeze through a narrow gap, her sarcasm cutting through the tension like a knife. Marco, 25, is the strong, silent type, built like a tank, responsible for carrying heavy gear and pulling us out of sticky situations. And me, I'm the tech guy: drones, GoPros, live stream setups, ensuring our adventures reach the world in real time. Last month, things were going great. We'd just wrapped a successful stream from an old sanatorium in the mountains, pulling in over 4,000 live viewers. I was back at work the next day, nursing a coffee while troubleshooting a water-damaged phone. Ironic, considering what was coming. My phone buzzed with a group chat notification. Luca, guys, I've got the perfect spot. Karsilov. It's untouched, legendary. I'd vaguely heard of it in online forums, those deep web threads, where urban explorers swap stories about places too dangerous or cursed to visit. Karsilov was a coastal city built in the 1970s under Soviet influence, a shining example of communist innovation focused on marine science and tidal energy research. Scientists from across Eastern Europe gathered there, experimenting with ways to harness the sea's relentless power through underwater turbines and reactors. Then, on April 26, 1986, the same day Chernobyl melted down, a catastrophe hit Karsilov. Official reports called it a structural failure in their prototype tidal energy plant. A massive surge of water flooded the city, swallowing streets and buildings in hours. Residents were evacuated in the dead of night, buses and trucks hauling them away, while they left dinners cooling on tables, clothes hanging in closets, lives suspended mid-breath. The government sealed it off, citing contamination and instability. Over decades, the sea claimed more, eroding foundations until half the city sank, leaving towers and apartments as half-submerged ruins, like a drowned Atlantis on the Black Sea coast. I replied to Luca, "Sounds sketchy. What's the appeal?" He sent links to grainy photos, buildings emerging from misty waters, streets turned into canals. Then, the rumors, whispers of people under the water, ghostly figures seen by fishermen, strange songs carried on the waves. A freelance reporter named Myra Kostova had been digging into it. POSTING, cryptic updates about survivors' tales, and a mysterious engineer named Dragan Vainov, who supposedly returned to the site years later. Her last post, "The waves don't forget, heading to Karsilov for answers." That was 2 months ago. She hadn't been heard from since. Sophia jumped in. "Hell yes. Imagine the footage: sunken labs, abandoned homes. Our best stream yet." Marco added, "As long as we don't drown." We planned it for the weekend. I spent the next days prepping gear, waterproof cases for cameras, signal boosters to combat the salt air interference, extra batteries, even a small drone for overhead shots. Friday evening, as the sun dipped into the sea, turning the horizon blood red, I felt a twinge of unease. The waves outside my window seemed louder, more insistent, but I shook it off. Nerves right. We loaded the van at dusk, driving south along winding coastal roads. The Black Sea loomed like an inky void, stars reflecting on its surface. By 11 p.m., we reached the perimeter, a weathered chain-link fence stretching into the distance, topped with razor wire and plastered with multilingual warnings. Danger, restricted zone, risk of collapse and contamination. Marco made quick work of the fence with his bolt cutters, and we hauled our inflatable boat and supplies through the gap, down to a rocky inlet. The air was thick, salty, with an undercurrent of rot, like seaweed left to fester. We inflated the boat, piled in with our wetsuits zipped tight, and motored out under the cover of moonlight. The engine's hum was drowned by the gentle slap of waves. Karsilov appeared ahead, skeletal silhouettes of apartment blocks and office towers. Lower halves vanished into the dark water. Upper stories cracked and shadowed. Some buildings tilted at odd angles, as if the sea was slowly pulling them under. First target, a residential complex on the city's edge. We tied off to a protruding balcony railing, the metal groaning under strain. Climbing through a broken window, we entered a world frozen in time. Water lapped at our calves, cold and brackish, carrying flecks of debris. Flashlights swept the room. A kitchen, table set for a meal long gone. Moldy bread, rusted cutlery, a newspaper headline about tidal breakthroughs dated April 25, 1986. "It's like they just left," Sophia murmured, her voice echoing off damp walls. We filmed it all, panning slowly for effect. Moving deeper, the water rose to our knees. In a living room, faded wallpaper peeled, revealing graffiti-scratched words in Cyrillic. "The sea takes but never gives back." Photos on a mantel showed a family, parents, 2 kids, smiling at a beach picnic. The chat loved it, so atmospheric. But then, the bedroom, bed unmade, sheets stiff with salt, toys scattered up, wooden train, stuffed animals bloated from immersion, and on the pillow, a porcelain doll, its dress sodden, hair matted with algae, eyes wide and accusatory. I picked it up for a close-up. Water dripped from its seams, pooling on the floor. "Creepy AF," Marco grunted. As I set it down, I felt a chill not from the cold, but something deeper, like being watched. We pushed on, the building creaking with each swell. That's when the sound started, a faint murmur, like voices whispering just out of earshot. I paused. "Hear that?" Luca nodded. Waves echoing. But it wasn't. It swelled and faded. A choral hum, multiple tones blending into something almost melodic, coming from below the floor, where the sea intruded through cracks. Sophia joked, "Ghost karaoke," but her laugh was forced. The stream chat noticed. "What is that noise? Amplify it." Luca, ever the historian, led us toward the city's Kortha Institute of Oceanography, a massive brutalist structure that once housed the tidal project. To reach it, we had to dive across a flooded plaza. Slipping underwater, our lights cut through murk, illuminating submerged cars rusted to skeletons, street signs bent by currents, even a bicycle chained to a post. Bubbles trailed as we swam, the pressure building in my ears. Surfacing inside the institute's lobby, we shook off water and ascended stairs, footsteps squelching. The upper floors were drier but no less eerie. Corridors lined with lockers, posters about marine conservation faded to ghosts. In a lab, overturned beakers and scattered papers, Sophia found a file cabinet, documents on Project Tidal Flux, sketches of underwater reactors harnessing wave energy, notes scribbled in margins, anomalies detected, waves responding to inputs. Then, a personal journal, Drogan Vainov, engineer, April 24th. Colleagues, hearing things in the surge, dismissed as fatigue, but I swear the water whispers names. Drogan Vainov, the name from Myra's stories. A young prodigy in '86, he survived the flood but was haunted, returning years later to confront the deep. Mira Kostova, the reporter, had interviewed him once, claiming he ranted about memories in the waves. Her notebook, we found it in another office, pages warped but recent. Myra Kostova, July 2025, tracked Vainov's trail here. Locals say he vanished last year, but his warnings echo Unda Meminit. The sea remembers every soul it claims. Heard the song last night, it's calling me. That Latin phrase, etched on the wall, Unda Meminit. I looked it up on my phone weak signal, but it translated to the wave remembers. The whispers were unmistakable now, vibrating through the structure, syncing with waves crashing outside. In a control room, banks of dead monitors, dials frozen. Marco unearthed a reel-to-reel recorder, tape intact. Vainov emergency log. I rigged batteries, pressed play. Dragon's voice filled the room, strained, breathless. "This is Dragon, Vainov. The reactor breach. It's not mechanical. We awakened something." The tidal flux imprinted on the water, every death, every scream, etched into the currents. They're coming back, not as ghosts, but echoes. Whispers at dusk, forms by night. Unda Meminit. The song is their march. If you hear it, run. They remember grievances, pull you in to join the chorus. Mira, if you find this, get out. They're lonely, and they want. A roar of water cut him off, tape hissing to silence. We exchanged wide-eyed glances. "That's intense," Sophia said, voice trembling. The chat was chaos, fake or real. "Play it again." But the murmurs crescendoed, now voices fragments. "Help, ... remember. Join us, double quotes harmonizing into a haunting melody. Panic set in. Time to go, Luca urged. Descending, water had risen alarmingly, flooding paths we'd walked dry. In the hallway, shadows stirred. My light caught them. Humanoid forms, bodies translucent like jellyfish, rippling with internal currents. No mouths, no noses, just eye sockets filled with swirling seawater, voids that seemed to pull at your soul. They moved in sync, a procession gliding through the flood, arms outstretched as if beckoning. What the fuck? Marco bellowed. One approached, hand brushing Sophia's arm. She yelped, skin icing over. It burns. The whispers intensified, naming us. Artem, Luca. Come remember, We fled, splashing wildly, hearts pounding. The figures followed, not chasing, but paralleling, their songs swelling with the tide. Back in the boat, we revved away, waves churning, but shapes rose from the sea, lining the sinking buildings. Eyes like black pools watching. The song carried over the water, waves slapping in rhythm. Hours later, safe ashore, I checked the stream. It wouldn't end. Still broadcasting, dark screen audio of endless ripples and chants. My voice at the close. They're everywhere, and they remember, double quotes now. Days on, the sea invades my dreams. Waves crash louder outside, even on calm nights. That doll, it's on my nightstand, though I swear I left it behind, dripping salt water. Mira's notebook appeared in my bag, pages adding themselves. They found me. Dragon's face flashes in mirrors, mouth moving soundlessly. Unda Meminit, the waves remember, and they've marked us. Is this real, or am I already under? If you hear the song, run. But where? The sea is everywhere.